Yeah. So Shakur Stevenson, he was live for Ryan Garcia's last fight against Oscar Duarte, supposed to be a dangerous puncher from Mexico. Shakur Stevenson still sees holes in Ryan Garcia's game, says it's still trash. And he had a tailor-made style right there in front of him. Boom. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Shakur Stevenson was live, coming to you live, just like my Unpacked. Now I got an Unpack coming later today, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. That video will be up shortly about Ryan's infamous shoulder roll. A lot of people hit me up on my last video and said they wanted to see that video. So Shakur Stevenson, he was at the fight. I believe he lives in Houston. I know he trains in Houston. So he was there and he pulled up to Ryan's fight with Oscar Duarte. That was the main event. And he was asked about, there's videos on YouTube. They were asking him about his thoughts on how Ryan Garcia looked. And I'm just going to paraphrase. Shakur Stevenson didn't really sound impressed. He said he did what he had to do. The guy was tailor-made for him. So he's saying it was a style that Ryan Garcia should have excelled with. A style that Ryan Garcia should have looked good with. And he got the knockout. He says he didn't want to let his hands go. He don't know what to do with his right hand. And all he has is a left hook. And Shakur Stevenson is basically standing on that. That's how he feels about the man's style. And that was ultimately his commentary. Shakur Stevenson says Ryan's right hand looked really bad. And his inside game was trash. In addition to saying Ryan Garcia was trash, he was asked, does he see any improvements under the tutelage of Derrick James? Did he look to be any better than he was before? Does he look improved after the Gervonta Davis loss and pairing and partnering with Derrick James? Shakur Stevenson said he didn't see no improvements. And he was also asked about a potential Teofimo fight because this idea has been floated by Bob Arum and also Oscar De La Hoya. It's just been discussed. Nothing concrete, no signed contract. Teo said he turned it down, whatever. But the idea, that was, either way, the question was asked to Shakur Stevenson, if that fight were to happen, what would happen? And Shakur flat out, he said Teo by stoppage. He said Teo got too much skills for him. And Ryan, the other thing Shakur Stevenson said was that Ryan Garcia has been fighting his whole life and he's been fighting this style his whole life. So he's known him since the amateurs, had a look at him since the amateurs, ain't nothing different. So he didn't see anything Derrick James did to improve. Okay, so that's what Shakur Stevenson had to say. Now it's time for the Ego thoughts. I mean, on one end, Shakur Stevenson, whatever he says, I'm just reporting what he said. Doesn't mean I agree with it, because I really don't agree with some of what he's saying. Like, for example, he's saying that there's zero improvements from Derrick James, but I'm like, he's maybe approaching it as this is ops. See, this is the crazy thing about it. Like, YouTubers get such a bad rap in boxing, like, oh, you silly YouTubers, I would have got away with it if it weren't for you mangy YouTubers. And people always badmouth YouTubers. YouTubers don't know boxing. YouTubers don't know ish. Listen, there's some YouTubers that don't know ish about boxing, but you can't say that with every single person, because I know I don't fit that mold. Look at my track record. I'm the best in the business and it's not even close. So the point I'm making is this. One thing that I've noticed while YouTubers and, people who, online analysts and content creators such as myself or whatever, we get a bad rap for like, oh, you don't know anything. But the reality is, in situations like me, I know I'm professional. I know I give everybody a fair shake. I give credit where credit's due. I approach boxing with no emotions at all, like the Terminator. Your keys, your clothes, your boots, give them to me. Like, there's no emotion. Like, I'm not mad at Shakur Stevenson personally. I'm not mad at Ryan Garcia personally, or Devin or Tank or anybody. They can all be beefing. But here's the thing. It's very hard, and I'm not saying it's impossible, because I know some people, including myself, that could do it, separate their emotions. But it is hard for human, because of human nature, to have envy for somebody or don't like somebody and then give them an honest assessment. So I kind of feel like Shakur is being a little bit harsh, especially given his last performance, by saying there's zero improvements, because I've watched Ryan Garcia. He's a flawed fighter. He has flaws. I'm not saying what he did was perfect versus Duarte at all, because it wasn't perfect, but I've already talked about some of the things that weren't like up to par or whatever. But at the same thing, I'm not gonna slight a man for coming off a loss, knockout loss at that, biggest fight of his career, million plus people seen it, new trainer, promoter against you. You got to I factor in all that when I'm looking at the performance. And I think Ryan, he didn't look. I think a lot of people are so over the top with their commentary, you know, and it could be part of them, like the fighters. You might fight. Shakur and Ryan might fight. Shakur says Ryan says Shakur is arrogant. So you don't really have no reason to say nothing nice. Me, I have no reason not to say something nice about any of these dudes. And I'm telling you that I seen little subtle improvements, at least that Ryan was trying. It's not going to be leaps and bounds and overnight, you know, because that's just not how progress works. But little incremental things, then your life gets better. If you change every week for this month, for the rest of the month, if you change every single day, change one thing or improve 0.5%, 1% every day, by the end of the month, you'll see some kind of change. So I think people are so harsh when they're grading people's performance. Like people, it's just, maybe it's the times we live in with TikTok and all that. I seen it with Jamal Charlo. People are like, oh no, I expect he should have stopped him and all this type of stuff. Bro, you don't do your job for 3 years and then come back to it and tell me how you're gonna look and tell me you look way better than Jamal Charlo looked versus Jose Benavidez. To be honest, all things considered, I'm surprised Jamal Charlo looked as sharp as he did. That's why I got a grade on that curve, because I know all the situational things and I factor everything into the fighter's assessment and grade. And for Ryan Garcia, I did see some improvements. You know, he didn't have his chin in the air as much. Again, I'm not defending Ryan and all this weird stuff that people say online. I seen little subtle improvement. So for Shakur to say like, oh, there's zero improvement with Derek James, you know, I don't really agree with that. As far as Ryan and Shakur, it looks like this beef will be long-standing for a minute. I just want to see them fight at this point. And the only weird thing I will say is Shakur is saying that he wants a catch weight or Ryan to come down to 135. Ryan just fought at a catch weight of 143. You know he's not coming down to 135. He didn't even fight Gervonta Davis, who's the A-side over Ryan, at 135. He fought him at a catch weight. So why would he come down to 135 for Shakur, who just won a vacant belt? You know, that doesn't even really make sense. So Shakur has to know that 135 is really out of the question. And as far as the catch weight, probably out of the question as well, seeing how he had to fight 3 pounds higher than 140. Why would he come down to 136 or 137 to fight Shakur, whose last performance wasn't receiving a ton of praise, I guess you could say, just because of a belt, because he won a vacant belt? You know, it just doesn't make sense. Me, I do want to see the fight. And actually, I was talking to my brother about this. The fight with Shakur and Ryan Garcia, I think it's a little bit more dynamic than people think, especially at 140. Because 140, you know, Ryan Garcia probably can make the weight, and he's tall and he's long. And some people are going to say, oh, his style is one-dimensional or he's vulnerable, whatever. But here's the thing. He has explosive speed and power. So if he were to clip Shakur, and he's a type of fighter that has, stylistically, is not a bad fight. Because first of all, Ryan Garcia just knocked out a knockout puncher. Shakur Stevenson at 35, he didn't knock out a guy that we thought was worthy of, you know, the fight. He did knock out Yoshino, but that's not somebody I rate. And to be honest, that was kind of a mercy stoppage. You dig? So for me, I don't know how his power would even translate at 140 to the point where would Ryan absolutely respect him? And Ryan's gonna always, as long as he's trying in that kind of situation. See, Ryan versus Tank is a whole different conundrum. Actually, I'm gonna do it like this because I can go on all day. If you want me to make a dedicated video about Shakur versus Ryan Garcia and really expand, because I don't want this video to be too long, but if you want me to go in and really expand, put Shakur versus Ryan in the comment section. Leave me a comment that says Shakur versus Ryan, and then I'll expand on it further. But just know styles make fights, and Ryan is pretty tall for the division, long arms, speed, explosive, and he has the power to pretty much hurt anyone that he connects with. So if the fight happened at 140, Shakur would have to, to me, Shakur's only option to beat him is to box Ryan Garcia. I don't really see Shakur stopping Ryan Garcia at 140 pounds. Again, versus Tank is different because Tank is lethal power-wise as a southpaw with power in both hands. So if Tank is unpredictable, so he hit Ryan with the shot you don't see, he gonna sit Ryan Garcia down. If Shakur lands punches on Ryan Garcia, it's not a guarantee he's gonna sit him down or knock him out. So it's really a different fight. And I know Shakur, might not like that because he's saying that Ryan Garcia is trash, but I actually like the fight. I definitely like the fight because, truth be told, stylistically, Shakur Ryan at 140, at the moment, based on what I've seen, that's more evenly matched stylistically than like Ryan versus Subriel Matias or even Ryan versus Teofimo, because Ryan can't make no mistakes with Matias and he can't make no mistakes with Teofimo based on the level of power that they possess. Again, if you want the Shakur Ryan video, leave Shakur versus Ryan in the comment section. I'm a holla. I'm the best in the business. Subscribe and I'm out.